this is a very pleasant surprise and really cool thing that the 13-year-old in me would never think, would ever dream of happening. We are actually talking to Monty Colvin from Galactic Cowboys. So, hello.
This is a very
How's it going?
exciting moment for us.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to us rambling. So, should we just dive into it, or do you have any questions
Sure.
before we start?
No, good to be here. Yes, we were touring with Dream Theater around '93.
Yeah.
So, and that was a great tour. So, love those guys and glad to be in their company.
Yeah, you even got Mike Portnoy to make a little teaser for your latest album.
Yeah, Mike's a good guy. He's been a friend since that tour.
Cool. We thought we would like to talk about actually your entire career, but we probably will talk a lot about Space in Your Face.
Okay.
But we could start off by just could you tell us about how was the music scene when you first started up, and who were your influences?
As far as me personally starting my whole career?
Yeah, and Galactic Cowboys.
Okay, well, I started back in the 80s playing in cover bands, and I just I started on guitar and eventually moved over to bass. Was in a band called The Awful Truth, and we did an album for Metal Blade. And then when that broke up, we started Galactic Cowboys. And influences, I think back in the beginning, it was probably a lot of thrash metal and mixed with like the Beatles and harmony vocals and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
From metal to pop to everything.
That's funny you should mention that, because I had a question when I try to describe Galactic Cowboys for people who haven't heard your music before. I usually say it's like thrash metal with Beatles harmonies. So you you kind of said it, or
yeah, especially on when we first started the band. First couple of albums were kind of in that direction and kind of went all over the place, but that's kind of the early vision.
Yeah.
What kind of relationship did you have with the other guys before starting Galactic Cowboys? Is you kind of your longtime friends, or did you meet in the music business, or?
Actually, the drummer Alan Doss and I, we were playing in a band before we got in The Awful Truth, and then we were in that for about a year. And so me and him had been playing for a couple of years. And then I just kind of met the other guys. They used to come to the Awful Truth shows. Dane and Ben would just come out and see us play and hang out. And we kind of got to know them a little bit then. And so after Alan and I left the Awful Truth, we started looking for guys to start a band with, and I asked both of them if they'd be interested, and we kind of went from there.
What was the vision for the musical direction already in place, or was that something you figure out together?
Yeah, I mean, I started wanting to go in more of a heavy melodic direction in The Awful Truth. And then Alan and I started writing some songs together. And so we didn't really put the whole 4-part harmony thing together vocally until we got the other guys. But yeah, the vision was there, and we kind of wanted to just see where it took us.
Yeah, cool. According to Wikipedia, you have toured with bands like Anthrax and Overkill, and we mentioned Dream Theater, and also King's X. I actually have two questions. I only written one, but I was also wondering, did you do a lot of touring outside the States, or was it primarily in the US?
The only tour we did, really, the full-on tour, was outside the U.S. was with Anthrax, and that went really well. We toured a lot of Europe, and let's see, we did a few offshoot shows in England, and just, headlining things, and but not a lot of touring outside of that in Europe. But we did do a lot of touring in the States, and yeah, the Overkill tour was a little rough. I don't think their fans got us too much, but the rest of them were great. Dream Theater, King's X, all that usually went really well.
Cool. Have to talk about King's X a bit, because we became aware of your music through our neighbor, who had previously introduced us to King's X. And you did some background vocals on the Faith of Love album, I think. And Jerry Gaskell played on the Let It Go album. And I also and also King's X has a song called Walter Bella Farkas on the Tapehead album. So I would assume that you have a close relationship to those guys.
I met those guys in college in the 80s. Just happened to run into them one night. They were a cover band in Springfield, Missouri, where I was going to college. And I just happened to go out one night and to see them, and ended up hanging out with Doug and becoming friends with him. And along the way, just kind of were friends with all of them. And yeah, they were good guys. We toured a lot with them, and haven't seen them in a long time. But yeah, we had the same management for a while, and yeah, good guys.
Yeah.
Talk about the management. In what way did Sam Taylor influence your sound? Since he was the producer of King's X's first 4 albums and your 2 first, I would say I hear similarities on these albums. Is that due to the producer, or is that due to your close relationships, or what's the connection here?
We were just 2 bands doing our own things. We both did kind of the harmony vocals, and Sam tended to produce the vocals the same way. Outside of that, we were, I don't know, to me, a completely different band, but we get to compare to them all the time. So
maybe too much, or
yeah, it's gotten a little old over the years, but because we have a ton of different influences, and Ben doesn't sound anything like Doug does on vocals, but I get it, the detuned guitars, and the harmony vocals and all that kind of stuff. But we were in more of a metal kind of direction, and they're who they are, and so
yeah, I totally agree. I don't think you're the same kind of music. It's like you're second cousins or something in the music. I recently discovered the Atomic Opera. I haven't, I wasn't aware of them before until recently, and I can hear that that's somewhere maybe in between King's X and your sound in Galactic Cowboys. It's similarities, but not. I don't know if I can actually point to any band and say that sounds like Galactic Cowboys, because I think your sound is quite unique.
Yeah, apparently so, because we never really seem to fit into any genre or any we never matched up that well with any bands we toured with, other than the King's X crowd was good, but it's hard to say. I mean, we were doing what we did, and I think it flew over a lot of people's heads, or they didn't get it, or whatever. But Geffen, when we were signed with them, they didn't really know what to do with us, and once grunge came along, they lost interest and dropped us. So we did several albums for Metal Blade, and it was a hard sell, probably because we were a little different, a little weird. When we're just your basic rock thing that was easy to sell. So we didn't get on radio much, and we were just kind of a different kind of band, and that's what we were.
Well, after Space in Your Face, the band's sound changed a lot. Was that something that you felt forced to kind of stay relevant to the grunge-dominated 90s? Or was it more like a natural development because you changed guitar player?
Machine Fish, the first album we did from Metal Blade after we left Geffen, was one of our heaviest albums. But I think along the way, I don't know, a couple of the guys in the band were wanting to move in a different direction, I think, a little bit. And, some of that stuff to me started sounding like Stone Temple Pilots. And so I don't know, we were just always trying new things. And, there was points where I don't even think we wanted to be a metal band anymore. And, so it just, I guess it's just a constant experimenting kind of thing. And some of it worked. I look back on some of it, and maybe it didn't work that well, but,
I think at the end of the day is one of your best albums. I really love that album. Yeah. You also had a short movie career in the movie Airheads.
Yeah, I had the shortest movie career in history. You saw the back of my head for 1 second. So my movie career was very short.
Yeah. Was it Ben who tapped the mic and shouted, "Is this on?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Ben got a line in that movie.
So he got paid 10 times the amount that you got or something.
I don't know. I just know I didn't get paid much, but I think we all kind of got paid the same, maybe. I don't know. But it was mainly just fun. It was just fun to do. We got to meet Adam Sandler and hang out on the set, and so it was a fun experience.
But how did you end up in the movie? Was it audition, or were you asked to do it?
Yeah, we got that role through our manager at the time, which was Andy, who was, managing Pantera and White Zombie, and we ended up on Concrete Management for a while. And one night he came to us and went, "Hey, would you guys like to be in a movie?" And we're like, "Yeah." So that's basically all that happened. He just, pitched us to the movie people, and next week we were in Hollywood shooting a film. So
Yeah.
But
I remember the first when I saw the movie, I wasn't aware that you were in the movie, but I recognized Ben's voice. So that was
yeah.
so I had to do some Googling.
but the song you
they asked
this
us to write a song for that album, and it was kind of, so we just made up this joke song called "Don't Hate Me Because I'm Beautiful," and we recorded that while we were there doing the movie, and it was all really fast. We were on tour at the time, and we just flew out and did it in like 2 days, and that was it. But we are in that movie. You got to look quick.
Yeah.
You'll miss it. But
does the recording exist? The recording of the song?
I've looked and tried to find it. I think our drummer, Alan, has a copy somewhere on cassette, but he's yet to transfer it so we can get a copy. But yeah, it's I think that there's at least one copy somewhere.
So there is a possibility to some days hear the holy grail of of the Galactic Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You have recorded some cover songs during your career. Not many, but a few. As a huge Petra fan, I wonder how you ended up doing Not of This World on the Petra tribute album.
The label, I think they were still Star Song at the time. Yeah, they came to us and just asked us if we'd do a song. And I said, sure. I don't have any of their albums, but if you'll send them to me, maybe we can pick out a song. And they did, and I listened to them, and I thought this might make a cool cover. It's got a lot of possibilities for vocals and harmonies, and we kind of added some stuff in there, made it a little heavier than the original song was, but that's how that went.
Yeah,
That's a cool
I think it's a perfect crossing of the Petra and your band. You kind of get the Petra song, but you're doing it in your way, and that's a good cover.
Thank you. I thought it came out well.
Yes. We mentioned you were on tour with Dream Theater and I just kind of watched it was a videotape back then. I have it on DVD, so I just checked it now. I think you're in the video here as almost as long as you were your movie career in the Airheads movie.
Which one was that?
The Images and Words tour, they have the live in Japan, live in Tokyo. Well, now on DVD with Dream Theater.
Oh yeah.
So there's a short snippets of you singing the lyrics to Take the Time.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the days when we hadn't discovered Dream Theater that much yet. So when we borrowed the tape from some of our friends, it was the highlight then was the 35 seconds or so where you were singing.
Yeah. We had a great time on that tour. We didn't know them that well before we jumped on that tour, but they were really nice to us, and we'd been out with them for a few days, and they'd come to us after the show and go, man, those vocals are great. You guys are great singers. And we're like, thanks, and then one night, I don't know whose idea it was, maybe Portnoy's, but they were like, hey, would you guys want to come out during, Take the Time? and sing background vocals. And so we worked it up one day on the bus and started going out every night on stage with them when they do that song and do the background vocals. And we just had a blast.
Yeah, I guess. Yep. Yeah, you're deeply involved as a songwriter on most of your albums. Well, all of them. And I know you play both the bass and the guitar. I guess you play the guitar in your crunchy band on the recording there. But in the what are your preferred way in composing the music? Is that by the guitar or by bass or piano or whatever?
Yeah, it's almost always guitar. I'll come up with a melody sometimes in my head and sit down with the guitar and work it out. Or sometimes I'll be jamming and come up with a riff or something that, and I'll just record that so I can remember it. And that's kind of way I put a lot of stuff together. I'll just, sometimes come up with a line in my head and from that kind of connect it with a melody. And but yeah, I've been writing songs for a long time now. And I did the 3 solo albums under the name Crunchy. And yeah, so done a lot of writing over the years. It's one of my passions.
Yeah, I would say that Crunchy is the vocals there are almost even more like Beatles than on the Galactic Cowboys. I mean, the harmonies are very Beatlesque on the Crunchy albums too.
Yeah, that's probably something I'll always have, because they were one of the first things as a kid that I was exposed to as far as rock and roll. And so my brother brought home Sgt. Pepper's, the day it came out. And, I looked at the vinyl and, was checking out all the pictures and listening to it. So I started when I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, listening to the Beatles. So it's been, that's something that's just always been there.
That's a great musical education.
Yes.
Yeah. Since this episode is about Space in Your Face, then we of course have to talk a little bit about that album. And to me, this is like a timeless album. I don't feel it's dated or very, you don't, well, I don't hear very much of that early 90s sound because of all the unique parts that are Galactic Cowboys. What was your approach to making that album? Was it just because this was your second one?
Yeah, it was kind of like the first. We were just very open to being creative. And we actually toured with, like I said, Overkill on that first tour. And I don't know, I was really into thrash still, by that time. And so, stuff like, Make Me Smile and songs like that. I wanted to take some of that thrash influence, but make it very singable, melodic. And, I was trying to do something that would be really heavy and kind of out there, but at the same time, be very catchy.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the stuff on there, was heavy, but very, very melodic. And so that's what we were trying to meld these two worlds together, I guess, where it was have the thrash and the poppy vocals, and that was the vision.
You also add a lot of humor. There's a fun side to a lot of your songs, like "Pump Up the Spacesuit" on the first album, and "The Space in Your Face." There's always some quirky, fun elements. Is
Yeah.
that also like a part of the Galactic Cowboys? What should you say? Agenda?
Universe?
Universe?
Yeah, I know it was back then, I mean, that's been, over 30 years now.
Mm.
And back then we were younger and we were just having a lot of fun. It was all new and fun for us. And we were just, we'd get in the studio, and we just record things just goofing around. And sometimes they would end up on the album. And I don't know whether that was a good thing or not, but you know, it's just who we were at the time. We just anything goes. Let's just have fun. And so a lot of that goofy stuff was just us having fun.
I
It
also
must
feel
be
like
perfect to just do what you want and don't think so much about what's expected from you. Just, hey, we're doing our thing.
Yeah, and we did the first two albums before the whole grunge thing hit. And it just seemed like, at that point, everybody got real serious, like with the whole Pearl Jam and, but we had already made those albums before all that happened. And so, we weren't thinking, oh, we got to be serious or, we were just like, hey, this is rock and roll. It's supposed to be fun, and that's kind of the way our shows are too. We go out and just, jump around and have fun and, get in people's faces and be crazy. And, it's about having fun.
I think you were having a bit of fun when you set up the tracks on the CD for "Space in Your Face," because there are 11 songs, but there's like 32 tracks, and one of the songs is like you have to rewind, skip to track 21 and rewind to minus 228 or something. So
yeah,
whose
that
idea
was
was
ridiculous.
that?
Yeah, that happened because we had those two songs and we were just going to put them on the album. And the guy at our label said, no, I think you should save those, or he didn't want to put them on the album at first, and we're like, we finally said, well, what if we hide them? And that way people can just run onto them. Or if they find them, it'll be like, oh, what a surprise. I got 2 extra songs, free music. So, it was kind of ridiculous, that we had to hide those and everything, because they're 2 really cool songs.
Yeah.
They're just way out there. And I still listen to those 2 songs and go, man, that was crazy stuff,
Yeah.
I had trumpets and, strings and, all this stuff going on, tablas and, there was a sitar Dane played, on one song, and they're crazy songs. I wish, they would have just been on the album,
Yeah.
But
it's probably a bit easier with the streaming service, because then they're just a regular track.
yeah, I would think so. Yeah, you can probably find them easier now.
Yeah.
But back then it was, a big pain in the butt to even find them. And
Yeah, but
I
it
don't
was
even
worth it.
Yeah, I don't even know if they were on the cassette. I don't think they were they? But
I don't know. I had the CD, so I don't know if the word was on the cassette.
yeah. It's been so long I don't even remember. But they were
But for
they
the
were out.
listener, for the listeners, the most hidden track was "Ranch on Mars," and you actually have 3 songs about Ransom Mars. You have Ransom Mars Reprise on the debut, and then you have this one, and then you have part 2 on At the End of the Day. So what's the story about the Ransom Mars?
That was just something I thought would be kind of cool lyrically. Early on, we were, Galactic Cowboys, and we were going to have a lot of, or at least the plan was to have, some of our videos include the whole space theme and a lot of that, but mixed in with, the cowboy thing. And since we were from Houston, and I don't know, I was just messing with some ideas, and I wrote this song called Galactic Cowboy Theme Song. And that turned into Ranch on Mars. And I don't know, it was just kind of a running theme that, if you're a fan, you kind of get it after a while, but it just kind of, I don't know, was kind of a story or inside joke.
Yeah. As a prog head, it's very cool to have those thematic elements popping up every now and then.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah. There's one song that I think really shows how brilliant you guys are vocally, and that's About Mrs. Leslie. Because I've been trying to play that in a cover band, or with my band, we played it as a cover. And the riff is kind of atonal, and Ben's vocal lines are pretty out there, but it still works. So how's the process for writing vocal lines and vocal harmonies like that? Because it's a pretty weird song, but really cool.
I don't remember the total process. I just remember, I think Alan came up with the idea of a song about, like a little old lady that has a secret or something. And he wanted to write a song called About Mrs. Leslie. And that was kind of his Beatle influence coming through. And then I remember, Ben sitting down and, working out the words and kind of the story of it. But yeah, it was a cool song. It's still really fun to play whenever we play live, because it's just kind of that heavy grooving kind of riff.
Yeah, it's a very cool song.
And my brother actually has recorded it twice.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it.
Because he likes it so much. So some early recordings from my brother is a cover of About Mrs. Leslie.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it. But it was done with much love and respect.
That's nice. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just
sorry.
wait a bit. We have some more questions, but this meeting is kind of running out of time. I wonder if we could stop this meeting and we go into the next meeting I sent the link to.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
No problem.
Right.
And we just switch meetings.
Okay, let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
right, so...
cheap Norwegian who want to buy the Zoom full package, then we do the workaround with 2 meetings.
Yeah, I totally understand.
All right, so yeah, we were talking about Mrs. Leslie, and I also have one more question before Ragnar can ask you a few. Both you and Ben share some lead vocals. How do you decide who sings what? Because you're the bass player, so you already have something to do. But what does he do when you sing?
Well, on some of those songs, he sometimes plays acoustic. We we don't always do a lot of the songs I sing lead on live, and so there's no real problem there. But it's usually just a kind of thing. You know, sometimes I write songs that are more suited for my voice, or I want to sing them, or you know, things like that. But yeah, he's cool about that. Sometimes he'll just stand there and, you know, just sing with me. And you know, when we do one of my songs that I'm singing lead on live, then he'll just sing with me or play acoustic.
Do you have a favorite song to play live?
Yeah, I like the heavy ones that I can move to. Like If I Were a Killer is a blast to play live. We got a song called 9th of June. That's a lot of fun to play live. That was off Machine Fish. You know, some of the harder songs like, you know, Stress, Make Me Smile. Those are always fun.
Just pure energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about a little the humor thing in your songs, and well, some of your elements in the songs are also animal sounds that you include. Is that to get the connection to the cowboy image, or?
Yeah, that was just us being goofy, you know.
Yeah. And one of my favorites in the Circles in the Field song, it sounds like you included a jackhammer as a part of the song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did that idea come from?
You know, I was listening to a lot of Ministry at the time, a band. And I was into that kind of industrial sound. And so I kind of felt that on that song. It was just kind of that driving, kind of song. And so we were just messing around with some sound effects on it. And it just kind of gave it more of that, you know, industrial metal kind of feel.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it sounds very cool. And I think it's cool that you use it more than one time in the song. So it's a natural part of the song. I really enjoy it.
It reminds me of, I think Metallica on the Black Album, James Hetfield used a rifle as a part of percussion. He was loading the rifle.
Right. Right. Yeah. Sometimes you get in the studio and you'll come up with things that, you know, you ordinarily wouldn't even think of, but something will come in your head, or someone will say, hey, we ought to do this. And, you know, we're just one of those bands that we're like, all right, let's try it, you know? So, you know, we brought in this rapper kind of guy that, you know, did the turntable. You know, I was like, yeah, that'd be cool if we could get a little, you know, you know. And so we've tried all kinds of stuff over the years.
Yeah. Well, King's X did for some time ago. They had their own Malkin music label where they released demos and live recordings and so on. Does it exist any recordings by Galactic Cowboys that haven't been released yet?
There's probably a few songs out there. I think some people have demos that we did. I don't even know how they got out there, but yeah, there's a few songs. I don't know that we'll ever put them on anything, but you never know, because on our last album in 2017, we took a couple of songs and started reworking them, and ended up putting what is it? In the Clouds was actually one of the first songs we ever wrote. And we had an old demo of it that was meant to possibly go on the first album. and we just went in and worked on it again and re-recorded it and put it on the last album. So, you know, maybe we'll do that again someday, you know, just take a really old song that never made an album and redo it.
Yeah, I thought that worked out very good because, well, it's now it's 7 years already since the last album. For me, it kind of feels like yesterday, but time flies.
I know.
But this was a comeback with your original lineup. So for me, this is kind of a natural follow-up to the two first albums, and like. Was that kind of your thinking when you recorded it, or was it more like this is where we are now?
Yeah, maybe both. I mean, I just think we really just went in to try and make the best album we could. We had no idea we were going to be doing that album until it happened. I was sitting home one day and got a call from these guys that were with this label in Holland, and they talked to me about, you know, would you guys be interested in getting together and doing another album? And I said, wow, well, I'm sure talk to them. So we talked about it and everyone was into it. So, you know, we just got together and started writing and putting together, you know, a group of songs. And that's what we came up with, that batch that's on, you know, on that album. And so, yeah, it wasn't real calculated. We just tried to write the best songs we could.
Are you happy with the album?
Yeah, thought it came out really well. I mean, I wish it would have gotten more promotion. That label that signed us basically didn't do anything with it. And so, you know, it was kind of a shame that we put a lot of work into it and then it didn't really do much. But, you know, that's the case always with any band. If you don't get a lot of promotion and, you know, don't have a lot of luck that way with exposure, then, you know, it's probably not going to sell a lot. But I'm happy with the music, though. I thought it was a good album.
Are there any future plans for Galactic Cowboys? Are you planning or talking about a new album or shows or anything?
Yeah, we've talked about both, and I've, you know, I've let the guys know that, you know, if they can, you know, figure anything out for shows, I would be, you know, into playing again. As far as the album, you know, the problem all along has been, you know, finances as far as making it. You know, how are we going to do that, you know, financially? And, you know, we've talked some about doing a, you know, fundraiser kind of thing, you know, whatever they call that, GoFundMe, stuff like that, you know. And so I've kind of left that up to the other guys. If, you know, if they want to do a fundraiser or something like that, you know, I'd be glad to, you know, be involved and write more songs and, you know, do it. But right now there's just nothing going on that I know of.
There will be two guys in Norway that would chip in at least.
All right. That would be great. We would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Øystein.
Yeah, I was well, talking about the two fans in Norway at least. But you seem to have a great relationship with your fans, and you show up in a lot of interviews like you do now, talking about the band's history. Would you say that Galactic Cowboys has a passionate fan base?
They are. They're really cool. I know a lot of people that have followed the band all these years want new stuff, but yeah, I get messaged all the time from people that still love our first two albums and the whole catalog, really. But, people still write me and ask me questions about, this song or that, or, talk about, seeing us back in the 90s. And so, yeah, it's been fun. I still do a podcast. I've been doing this podcast for about 15 years now. And every episode, I'll get questions about, those albums, and, I talk about, what those songs were about, and, I'll tell road stories and things like that. So it kind of keeps our fans, involved, and know that, we appreciate their support.
And as a fan, it's really great to have the band members who are so eager to share and talk about, your favorite band. So
yeah, well, I'm a fan myself of just music, always have been. I'm just a rock fan. I still go to shows and concerts, and what I do for a living now primarily is I do paintings of rock stars. And I have a website, montycolvinart.com, if you want to check that out. But hang on one second. Like here's a painting of Dave Grohl I just did.
cool.
And so that's the kind of stuff I do. I'm a music fan. So when it comes to, people wanting to talk about music and hear what I have to say, I'm always glad to talk about it.
Yeah, cool. So is it are you kind of a full-time painter and podcaster at the moment, or
Yeah, I do the podcast. I mean, it's more of a hobby. It always has been, where I just, just do it when I can for fun. I'm up to I don't know, 270 episodes now or something. I don't know. I started back in 2009 just for fun, and never dreamed I'd, actually build kind of a little audience or something. But, I got guys from other podcasts that message me, and they're like, cool show, man. I look forward to it. And so it's just, something I love to do. Kind of keeps me connected with the fans. And I also, can kind of plug my art at the same time. But yeah, I've been doing the rock star paintings for, I don't know, like 4 years now. And I just started a few years ago doing it full time, where that's all I do is sit around all day and paint.
Yeah, that doesn't sound bad.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Yeah, it's something I got a degree in college, an art degree. And, for a lot of years, I didn't do a lot with it outside of just, do some paintings once in a while. But then when I started Galactic, I got to do, some of our album covers.
Yeah, you probably have the CDs here, but because of the blur
effect, there's one.
Is that you as well?
No, I didn't do the first two.
No, because that's
with Geffen, and they.
But you painted a version of that one that's pretty damn similar.
Yeah, I've done paintings with.
That's the last one.
That version.
That's the cool.
Yeah, one. I did that one,
and that
I did the back cover on that one.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I think this one is really cool because there's a lot of Easter eggs all over the artwork. you can find hints of all the song titles. If you start looking, you go crazy because of all the details. And then
I just did another. Yeah, I did another version of that recently. This company put out all of the Metal Blade releases on
Girder Records
CD and vinyl. Yeah, and I did the cover for that, and I kind of did that same kind of thing
Cool.
where it was like the New York City Times Square thing, except it had all of our album covers.
Actually, I have to correct myself because it's not only the album or song title, it's also the previous albums. Here's the first one. And Feel the Rage is somewhere here. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So we definitely will add a link to your site on our Facebook page.
Very cool.
So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we need some Monty Colvin art in Norway.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, Ragnar, I think I'm out of questions on my sheet here.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of stuff, and as we said earlier, we really appreciate that you're taking the time to do this. This is actually our first podcast episode with interview,
Okay.
this is we're leveling up.
Yeah, but this was like
Nice.
the first interview that we said we should try to do this, but never thought that you would answer. So really appreciated it.
Well, I'd say it went really well.
Yeah.
Then I think we'll wrap it up, and thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. It was nice meeting you, and I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Bye-bye.
take care.
Take care.
Bye.